What's up, and welcome to this edition of Viking Vibes, the St. Joseph by the Sea experience. We are here today in the studio with the athletic director, Rich Bruno, and the associate athletic director, Tyler Young. Guys, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us
here.
As you know, St. Joe's is doing something pretty new in the space, kind of the first high school in the region to be launching its own podcast. It's going to be focused on everything that's going on in C, as well as some of the stuff that's just going on the South Shore. So today, we brought you guys in as the liaisons and overseers of all things sports to talk about sports. We've already done a few segments on, the academics, which are very important. We need to hear the nitty gritty. We want to hear about the championship teams. We want to hear about what's to come. And we also want to touch on all of the facility upgrades at St. Joe's, right? Because they're always doing something. I know right now it's August, school's about to open in about a month, a few weeks, and it's always under construction. And a lot of that stuff is going to be brand new for the kids coming in. Rich, we'll start with you. And so give us a little bit about you first before we get into athletics. So how long ago did you join the C family?
I'm in my 10th year as the athletic director. What a journey has it been. The school has been transformed probably at least fivefold since I've been there. Complete, like with new facilities and new teams.
Always upgrading, always doing something, always giving students the things that they need to succeed, correct? And Tyler, how long have you been part of the C family?
So I've been there full time going into my third year, but I've been coaching since 2019. I'm a former alum, current alum. It's great to be back. I feel like when I actually do something, it's something I'm a part of. It's not really work. It's like something that as a student, I felt like I helped build it. So now I want to do it on the other end.
And we're going to get into championship teams, but when you were playing football, what was your record?
We went 5-3. First round loss, no championships there.
But you had a good time doing it.
Yeah, it was a great time.
It was such a great experience that you came back and you're actually coaching.
Yep.
So, Rich, tell us about last season and all of the wins and all of the experiences and some of the sports and activities that were going on last school year.
Okay, certainly. I just want to touch on the prior point. With all of these upgrades that C is constructing, the thing that really the public should know is that there are no loans or notes being borrowed for these projects.
That's important.
All of these projects are self-funded.
Right.
So we have the lowest tuition, one of the lowest tuitions in the city of New York. What's nice is that when the parents come here with their children, these construction projects are not something like a loan we're putting on their back.
Right.
All of this is self-funded with cash that the school has on hand, which is a great thing.
Right. So that's actually a great point to make. I didn't even think about that. But in other words, incoming freshmen aren't going to be incurring a bill as sophomores for all the construction that's going on today. So that's a great point to make.
Right. Absolutely not.
And you could see, when parents try to justify mentally tuition, all the stuff that's going on, you could actually see the return on the investment.
Right. Well, we always say it's an investment in Catholic education that's going to pay for itself, right? That's kind of the mantra over at Say, because, we had a couple of students on the show already, two students of excellence. They're both going to Notre Dame. The fact that they got into Notre Dame, it almost didn't matter what was invested as far as what they were spending, because what they spent at sea allowed them to get into those colleges. So exactly to your point, you're correct. It's an investment in their future, and it's something that gives them a leg up in the future. Now that we know that everything's paid for, let's talk about some of the facilities. Let's talk about some of the W's and some of the unique programs that only C has, right? Because there's a bunch of teams that are only available at St. Joe's. And I mean, you guys have created it and sort of pioneered that in the space.
That's correct. In fact, we have the largest athletic program of any high school in the Archdiocese.
That's interesting.
It is.
I don't think many people know that.
No, we have 1,500 students in the school now. Probably a little over 1,000 are actually engaged in athletics.
That's wild.
It is. And we have some unique programs that we started over the years. One of them is our sailing team. We have a competitive sailing team that we train the students how to sail in C420 race boats.
Wow.
It's being administered by the Richmond County Yacht Club.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Talk about a unique experience for a kid.
Yeah. And what's unique about the experience is that sailing is a lifetime activity. So it's sort of like golf. Like once you learn how to do it, you're in. And the kids love it. And we grew our fleet of boats we started out with 4 boats, and now we're up to 10.
Wow.
And we have over 30 students in our sailing program.
That's amazing. And now, I mean, is that competitive? Is that a competitive sport, or is that more of an activity? Where's that fall?
It's a competitive sport. We start with the fall season.
Right.
And then in the spring season, we get ready to compete in regattas against the South Amboy Yacht Club.
Very cool. That's definitely an interesting thing. And I know in addition to the programs, we're gonna try and unbox a lot because we got a lot to talk about. And Rich, while you're also going to tell us about all the championship teams and W's that were put up on the board last season, also in that, try and talk to me about sports science labs, because I know that's something that, I mean, to my knowledge, definitely no other high school is doing, and sometimes that's not even being done on the collegiate level with access to those kinds of facilities. So.
Right, absolutely. The type of program we have installed here is actually, you might find it in a top Division I, collegiate level institution. We partnered up with Dr. Piazza. He's the owner of Sports Science Lab. We have a state-of-the-art fitness center, and it's staffed by 3 trainers that all have the CSCS certification in strength and conditioning. And it's a unique program in that every student that comes into the school, they receive a membership,
right,
and then they become assessed in orthopedically, physically, and then we interview them. Like, what do you want your goals to be? Do you want to lose weight? Do you want to be faster? Do you want to get stronger?
Right.
And then these trainers actually administer a specific workout prescription for that particular student.
That's awesome. Now, Tyler, I know I've seen you in the gym, right? You're actually in there using it. But talk about the program, because I know they have an app, right? They have all kinds of cool equipment, and they have trainers. But it's hard to visualize unless people have seen it. So talk a little bit about your experience with it.
Yeah, so I want to kind of emphasize the fact that these trainers, if you're not privy to, strength and conditioning, it's not someone who takes it like, I work out as a hobby,
right,
or just to stay in fit. But these people kind of get their full college degrees in it. So it's not just like someone at a local gym teaching our kids how to lift. It's someone who actually went through years of schooling. Some of them even have, masters in it.
Right.
There's a ton of different technology that they use. There's force plates to measure their vertical. It helps them see how strong each leg is. So when they jump and they land on that force plate, they could measure how strong each leg is actually exerting, what type of force.
Right.
And that helps them prevent injury, because if they see that the left leg is, weaker than the right, they could give you a specific, training regimen to, increase the strength of that left leg. And like you said, they have their own app to help you log and monitor
follow
that type
and figure out what they're doing.
Exactly. So it's not, hey, here's a plan, go do it, let me know how it works. They could see it in real time, how it's updating, and how that progress is actually going.
And something I find interesting, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm right, is that all students have access to this. This is not something that, only the football team, the wrestling team, the girls softball team, all students, whether you're on a sports team or not, have access to these facilities.
100%. Anyone could use it. Our sports teams, like to go in there pretty frequently, but there are students who, don't really care about sports. They just want to be fit.
Right.
And we want to give them that opportunity to use the weight room. They have the opportunity to use it during their gym class.
Right.
It's open after school till, I think, 7:30 now. As soon as school ends, they could go. If they don't feel like, participating in gym class, they could go up, and those trainers will, give them their own type of fitness plan as well.
So in the classroom, the kids are getting top-notch education where they have access to college credits and all those other things. Outside the classroom, they have access to top-notch trainers, physical therapists, and a training regimen, whether they're involved in sports or not, geared to make them a better person physically. So it's kind of a full circle, right? We're building almost the perfect student in every way, spiritually, emotionally, academically, and physically. Now the kids are smart, the kids are fit. Talk about how they're winning games and what the teams are doing.
Yes, and with 43 teams in the school at any given time, we're winning a championship. What comes to mind last year, girls JV volleyball, they captured a championship under Coach Shrell. Our boys swimming team, they captured a championship under Coach Damian Gilsonin. Our girls varsity cheer team, a legendary team, won the state championship under the direction of Coach Mulligan and Coach Cressy. Our boys JV baseball under the direction of Coach George Quinn, they won a city championship.
For the third year in a row.
Third year in a row.
Is it
wow.
3 years or 4 years?
3 or 4. That's a good problem to have.
It's consecutive, so.
Yes, and very impressive was our girls varsity basketball team.
Right.
That also won their second consecutive state championship under the direction of Coach Josh Suslak.
Very cool.
That was a big deal because that was one of the first times that we had. So there's a Catholic state.
Right.
That's the second year in a row we won that. But since COVID, they brought back the state championship at the federation, which kind of picks it from public schools all over. So it's not just Catholic.
Got it.
We took a trip to Albany. We won the whole thing on that end too. So that was a tremendous accomplishment for them.
That's a big win.
And then one more thing we have our archery team.
Right.
Where they're 9-time consecutive state champs.
Yes.
So they fly to Kentucky for nationals too. They have a whole big thing next year. They're hoping to get, I don't want to jinx it, but they're trying to get 10 years in a row of state archery champions.
That's crazy. I'm glad you mentioned archery because I want to talk about that. So talk about, I mean, when you began working there was no archery facility. And since you've been there, you've seen it built and developed. So talk about what it looks like, what it feels like, and then how the archery program, and this is something I learned because I didn't know, actually leads and is a pathway to college scholarship money for a lot of these kids, right? A lot of these kids are getting big money from colleges because they're participating in C's archery. So
you have the traditional sports that, everyone seems to know,
right.
Football, baseball, and that's where a lot of students like gravitate towards. But we have a couple of these like niche sports, and there's such a demand at the collegiate level for these athletes.
Right.
Yeah, archery. We didn't have an archery range.
Right. So they built it. Right.
Yeah,
and if you want it and it makes sense, it'll be built.
Exactly. And what's great about the archery program is that other schools are picking it up. So we like to talk about how we're the only people to have it, but it's great when other schools see what we're doing and they, give their students access to it.
Yeah, of course.
So now I'm pretty sure Coach Nebel he's starting the league, right? He's pretty much the pioneer of the archery.
That's right. He's going to be spearheading it.
Yeah. So other schools are looking to pick it up. And to piggyback off that, another championship that we won was girls flag football, JV and varsity. That's with Coach DeAngelis. And in the same category, we were one of the only Catholic schools to have that for the last 10 years or so.
Flag football as a sport, correct?
Exactly. Right. And now, with pushing it and big help with the NFL, they love girls flag football now. Coach DeAngelis was, part of the movement to get that as a league sanctioned sport as well. So now other schools are looking to pick up flag football as well.
That's cool. One of the things I find most interesting about this conversation is that we know, and most of us know, that the outside population of C, looking at C, they're always like, well, it's all academic, nothing to do with sports. They think of other high schools, maybe down the road a bit, right? Or other high schools in the area when they're thinking about sports and activities. But you just named, without counting, at least 10 championships, the facilities that are second to none. And this has nothing to do with academics. So I think it's important that people just realize that in addition to this amazing academic and collegiate program on the academic side, there really is a huge investment and a huge push to get these kids to be the best athletes that they can be. And I think that that's something that a lot of people miss in the literature and the brochures, right? They're not focused on the sports. I think they don't see that picture.
Did we mention the softball championship too?
Another one.
Oh. Yeah, there we go. So we went to the States for that as well. And there's tons of sports that even though we didn't win championships, we've competed in championships.
Right. That was under the varsity was under Coach Nicole Mancusi, and the JV was under the coach of under the direction of Coach Al Reyes, and both of them are also championship teams. Thank you for reminding me of that. I can't stress enough. Never mind championships, but how many winning teams that we have, winning records.
Right.
Varsity baseball under the direction of Coach Nelson, the girls lacrosse program under Coach Donnelly. It's just a winning program overall. And how many teams have went to the championship game but didn't win the championship? So let's not forget two of our up and coming sports. We have gymnastics, competitive gymnastics team. We have Sophia Greaves that earned a Division I scholarship for gymnastics to Auburn.
See, that's interesting. And that's stuff that people don't really know about, right?
No.
That's stuff that's like buried under the hood.
It's huge because there's not many. That's the SEC. Like that is the top tier league for college. Like if you are a student athlete, like you want to compete in the SEC, and we had one of our students this year go to Auburn. Like that's insane.
That's awesome. That's really cool. The championship teams, talk about how the facilities and the upgrades and the access to stuff helps and assists these kids. Because I know, we'll touch on it, but the facilities are amazing, right? So you had said earlier that when you were there, the building wasn't even there. The
student center was not there.
So talk about the fields. Talk about what these kids have access to, and more importantly, tell us what's coming up, because I know there's some things in the pipeline, right?
Yes, but before I do that, did I tell you about our fencing program?
I want to hear all about it. Go ahead, talk about it.
That's another one of our up and coming sports. We have a competitive fencing team, and they fence with 3 weapons: a saber, epi, and one more.
I usually leave my epi at home.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so that's another collegiate, big collegiate sport that we have a professional fencing instructor.
Right.
Some of our students are going to begin actually to try to gain scholarships on the college level with fencing. Unique program.
Unbelievable.
We're the only one the only one in the archdiocese that really has it.
I didn't even know that, really. The only one in the archdiocese to have the fencing program. That's interesting.
Fencing and gymnastics.
Very cool.
Concerning our facilities, they're really second to none. That's probably one of the best kept secrets of the school, because when you're driving past the school, you just see like this white building. It's like a nice size, but you don't realize what's behind it.
Right.
And what I like to say at the open house is what's nice about the school is that after school is over, we don't have to put our kids on the buses to go to practice fields. Everything is behind the school. We have a football field that triples as a soccer and lacrosse field. We have a dedicated softball field. We have an archery range. We have our own softball and baseball field. And we have our own tennis courts.
Right.
We might be also the only school to have, at least Catholic school, to have their own baseball field, right?
I believe so on the island anyway.
But it's interesting to your point about not having to get on a bus and go somewhere, right? Because, there are, we travel, right? So we go to schools outside in Brooklyn. We go to schools in Jersey. We see a lot of, even schools on the island. You got to get on the bus and you got to go to CSI. You got to get on the bus and you got to go to Wagner or any of these, campuses that have the facilities. So to your point, when you're coming to C and you're a student at C, what's the only thing you have to leave for? Is it still ice hockey and swimming? Is that the only thing?
And gymnastics.
And gymnastics. Okay, so 3 sports out of 43
Right.
that aren't on the campus. I think that's pretty good. And I'm sure eventually we'll convince Father to get a pool.
Yeah, maybe we
or a
can get a
skating
pool.
rink. I think he'll do it. What's in the future? What's coming facilities wise? What's in the works?
What's nice is that we have state-of-the-art locker room facilities. We're building a brand new one for girls because the school is growing.
Right.
These lockers, once again, they're like collegiate lockers. They're beautiful wood grain lockers. Every athlete gets their name on a locker.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, which is really
I
incredible.
wish we had that when I was there. We got nothing.
It's like almost
Old
like
metal lockers. No one cared about us.
Right.
It's all right.
Like in a garage.
Yeah, dented. No one cared.
chip paint.
Yep. It smelled terrible.
Yeah,
Well,
tuna fish sandwich inside.
Right. But now they got these locker rooms. That's an amazing thing, which people, if they're interested, can, go to josephc.org, check out the videos and all the footage. It is something to behold, and especially to walk through it. It's very, very impressive.
Yes, our two major capital improvement projects with athletics right now is we're looking into a proposal to light our entire campus with field lighting.
Wow.
Including the softball and baseball fields, which would be once again something you define like on a college level.
Because right now the football field, is lighted, which is nice.
That's correct.
So you're looking to do the whole thing. That's impressive.
Looking to do the whole thing. The capital improvement project that everyone's looking forward to is our indoor athletic facility.
So talk about this, because I know last year at Open House they alluded to it, but I think it's come a long way since pen to paper to where it's going to be, right?
Yes, this is going to be like really almost like our third gym.
Right.
But it's going to be a specialized facility. It's going to be a large facility and with 14-foot ceilings, and it's something that is open to everyone in the school. And anyone could go into school and use it. We're going to have like batting cages in there for baseball and softball, but it's open to everyone in the school. Even if someone's not in the baseball and softball team, they want to go in there and they want to hit the balls, it's open to everyone. We also green-lighted for a very expensive golf simulator.
Wow. Yeah. That's cool.
Right.
That's really cool. So that's going to be coming. That's interesting.
You have to keep the teachers out and let the kids use
I was
it.
going to say, that's going to be a problem, right?
Yeah.
The golf simulator coming to St. Joe's.
Yeah. And what's nice about the facility is that when it's being used for like baseball or softball, it's going to be netting that's on rollers, and we could just roll the netting all the way back, and we could open it up as one big field.
So multi-use makes sense.
Multi-use.
You're going to build it, use it in multiple ways. Smart.
Right. And I just want to emphasize that it's for all students.
Right, which is very important, because it's not only the kids that are golfing, it's not only the kids that are going to be playing softball, baseball, whatever else is going on in there.
Right.
A lot of the things that we've discussed are great for kids that are there. But Tyler, I know you're involved in a lot of different levels, inside and outside of sports. So one of the things you do is you're involved with the program with the iPads that goes into the schools and the local grammar schools across Staten Island. So talk a little bit about what you're telling these kids, and as incoming let's even call it 7th graders, right? Because we have 7th graders that go to the open house. So 7th and 8th grade students, what's exciting to them? And what do you think the most beneficial things that C has now for them as incoming freshmen?
Sure. So the main thing about what I do is when I meet these kids, I like to make sure they get acclimated with, the tech world, especially, since COVID happened, everything had to be kind of remote. So giving them the ability to kind of practice doing assignments online, submitting things online, just working with a device for education. That was a great thing beyond athletics. But the kids, they love seeing the facilities. They, like you said, they don't want to be driven to practice.
Right.
Kids that age, they kind of want to start being independent.
Exactly.
So when I tell them that, hey, we have our own baseball field, you don't have to worry about your parents driving you to practice.
Right.
They kind of love that idea. I try to give them as much information as I can, but at the same time, I want to make sure they're making the right decision.
Right.
It's more of, hey, this is what you're going to see at the high school, no matter what high school you go to.
Right.
Because now everyone's pretty much caught up in the sense of technology, right? Everyone has to have some type of device. So, but particularly with our open houses, because I'm at every single one, I do like to give them a little information, pretty much like what we're doing on this podcast.
Right.
Give them, my experience with what there used to be versus how it's significantly upgraded. And, I try to help them in that way.
Cool. So if anyone watching or listening right now, the open houses are going to be held in October. We encourage you to go to josephc.org and you're going to be able to register. They're going to be time slots, right? So we've had a lot of success with doing it that way. So we encourage you to go visit that and visit us at open house to see all the facilities. Rich, is there anything else that we missed? There's so much to talk about, right, in the world of sports, and I feel like this is the time to shine on it because it doesn't get enough play. So what did we miss? What's something else that you feel is important for parents or students to know?
I think they really should appreciate our coaching staff. Our coaches are hand-selected. They're very good mentors.
Right.
We have the type of coaches where once the students leave C, they're going to remember their coach forever. We got Coach Mike Ortiz that runs our boys basketball program. Last year, we went to the finals.
My classmate, fantastic guy. He's actually it's funny because he's actually coaching my kid now, as weird as that sounds, in the program that you're running in the gym this week and last week.
Forgot to mention Christian Greeley at the Jakes winner. That's like the best basketball player on Staten Island.
That's right.
All right, so let's go back. Let's talk about that because you can't just gloss over that. Give me the whole story.
Yeah, it's an award that's given to the best basketball player on Staten Island. He shared that award with a student from St. Peter's.
Okay.
Like Rich said, we were, a game away from capturing the Staten Island Championship in the Staten Island tournament. And Christian Greeley had a great season. And he was only the second male student at St. Joseph by the Sea to ever win that award.
And one of them was the Testaverde, right?
It was the Testaverde.
Shout out to the Testaverde family. Fantastic.
And another coach I'd like to highlight is Brian Palmer, our lacrosse coach. Lacrosse now is really becoming popular. Years ago, it used to be like a Long Island or a New Jersey sport, and now it's just really exploding on the island. And Coach Palmer really built up our program to the point where we may have to start making cuts in the future.
Wow.
And same thing on the girls' side.
One thing I want to mention before we close is, and you made me think of it, so thank you, is that a lot of the programs, you don't have to be qualified and you don't get cut, right? So talk about that. Like baseball and football, I know, are two. Is that correct?
No, baseball, there's cuts.
Baseball, there's cut. Football, there isn't.
No. So for
you can
football,
just try out. You just come and you want to play.
So we're one of the few schools to have 3 levels of football.
Right.
So the freshman team, that's pretty much if you don't have experience or if you're just not ready to move on to JV, we have you on the freshman team.
Right.
And that's, like I said, just for freshmen. Then we have the JV team, typically sophomores, or if you are an experienced freshman, you can move up.
You get bumped up.
Yep. And then obviously we have our varsity. And I want to talk a little bit about Coach Baptiste because he's doing a tremendous job. We haven't really talked about football. For football, I think it's one of the hardest sports mentally, just in terms of the playbook.
And despite the fact that you and I have both played, I'll admit that's true.
Coach Baptiste in his first season, he's going on his second season now. He finished with, an above 500 record. And to get the students to learn a playbook that quickly and to win games and to be competitive, I think that's tremendous for our students. Like I want to give them all the props for that. But, shout out to Coach Baptiste for getting them to be able to learn. And I'm excited to see where he goes in that.
We're looking forward to having him on the podcast. I know he was busy, but he's going to be here. We're looking forward to it.
Yes, he's really like he was a big catch for us. I mean,
former NFL player. Let's just qualify.
Former NFL player. I believe he was he played for the Seahawks, the Falcons, the Bears, and there's one more. But he was also a Division
quite a record.
Absolutely, and he was also a Division I coach at Texas A&M.
And here he is coaching the Vikings.
And here he is coaching the Vikings. So he was really he's an incredible asset to our school. He's a role model for our students. Yeah, he's a big draw here.
Well, guys, I want to thank you both for joining us here today. I think that we shed some positive light on something that doesn't always get enough credit as it should, because sports should be hand in hand with academics, at least in my opinion. And I know that parents and kids who are going to be watching or listening are interested in knowing all the things that we have to offer, not just academics. So I thank you both for coming in. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
And I encourage everybody who's watching or listening to follow Viking Vibes on all of our social media channels. Also visit josephc.org for any information related to sports and or athletics, especially to register for our open house. And until then, that's a wrap.